Hey, greetings, Josh Fox. How you doing?
I am blessed, Honorable Empress. How is the eye?
Oh, everything is good. I'm just trying to get everything situated here.
Okay. Take the
How's
eye time. Everyone is blessed. We're giving thanks, you know. Life is the greatest.
Okay, it's good to hear that. It's good to hear.
That's the far eye.
Well,
How is the eye and the eye family?
Yeah, everybody is doing good. We're just trying to keep it positive. You know, I'm not really trying to let nobody kill my joy. You know how it is.
Yeah, man, that's the truth, man. You know?
No joy killers.
Yes, I. But we give thanks, you know. We give thanks to the moment. You know, we give thanks to the reasoning. We give thanks to the joy. You know, mighty heart of Sabbath to the eye. You know?
Same to you.
You know, and to each and every one that will join in and is listening. You know, mighty heart of Sabbath. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I did invite a few people. They may come on if they have time or whatever, you know.
Yes, I.
So you might see them coming up on the screen as we dialogue, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was looking at your YouTube channel, and that topic that you was talking about with the idolatry, that's just you know, coming from Rastafari is rare.
Yes,
you understand what I'm saying? So I'm just
man.
This 2025 year has really been turning things around. things that's been
Yes.
upside down is being turned upright. So,
Yes.
when I saw that, I said, you know what, this definitely has to be a good conversation because you know for yourself the stagnation that we've been in. Not just talking
Yes,
about the
I.
slavery, not just talking about because of slavery, but even with our ideologies and our so-called religious systems and things like that. We don't realize that we're
Yes,
stagnated
I.
in it. We're
Yes,
waiting for
I.
something
Truly.
that's never going to happen. We're waiting for saviors that's never going to come. You know what I
Truly.
mean?
Yes, I. And that hits it on the point. Because coming into this Rastafari movement, it was a joy to I. Because
Yes.
it brought a sense of
Yes.
freedom. Where you can express oneself, in the I
Be
own way.
African. Yes, you can be
Yeah.
African with no apology.
Yeah. You see it? And you don't have
Yes.
to be part of this colonial system, how they set things to be, how they want your outlook to be, how they want you to live your life, and these such things. So the Rastafari movement is a very important movement right now in this present day. And the way it started is like, the blueprint to how we're supposed to actually be living. So that's why I made the video and I said Rastafari, that the main cause of the stagnation is ideology. It's idolatry. Because when you look at it, to worship someone outside of yourself as God or as a savior, as a deity that, is not actually you. It's not your power per se, but it's a power separate from yours. It tends to leave you vulnerable. It tends to leave you in a state of dependence on that outer power, that outer savior, that outer God. And when the Rastafari movement started, it didn't start as that. It started as God is within.
Yes.
And it's I and I as an identification of the oneness with man and creation and the whole. Oneness with man and God. You see it?
Yes.
And during the course of time, it changed. We still carry the same words, but the liberty is not there. You see it? And this is something that we all got to come to terms and realize. First within self. Basically that's where everything dwells, self. So everyone got to turn forward to self. Yeah.
And that's just basically, I think that's basically the problem. We're looking outside too much,
Yes.
And
yes.
I think the Bible is really playing a big strong hold on that, that we come with this Yurugu meditation, There's an elder named Dr. Marimba Ani, and she wrote this book over probably like 15, 20 years ago, where she's critiquing the European behavior and European thought and how we have taken on that European behavior and European thought. The name of the book is Yurugu, and she really dives deep, really goes in on how we have moved away from our African self and took on these European religions, these European ways, European eating, European thinking. You know what I'm saying? Our whole life is based on how the European told us it's supposed to be.
That's right.
And then we start acting like Yurugu. And don't even realize that we have these European thoughts, we have these European behaviors, That whole waiting for Selassie to come back and save you, that's a Yurugu.
Yes. It's the same thing as waiting for Jesus Christ to come back and save you. It's the
like
same thing.
Difference. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, it's the same thing that the Rastafari movement took on. The same thing that there was fire burning and all these things. So when we see all these things, we got to really try and figure out the real cause of it. And the real cause of it, as I mentioned earlier, that the woman wrote in her book, is the European mindset that was given to I and I during the time of slavery. You see? Because the mindset that was given to us is a mindset to keep us defeated in creation, so to say. You know? And when the Rastafari movement started, it started in a time where, you know how the Bible speaks about, the return of Christ?
Yes.
It started in a time like that. When it was coming to the end of slavery and there was rebellions happening in America and in Haiti and in Jamaica and all over in the other Caribbeans, right? And at that time, there was a lot of teachings about metaphysics. When Marcus Garvey came, Marcus Garvey was preaching a lot about metaphysics, a lot about the power of the mind, and saying that the mind creates. And whatever you desire, you put it in your mind and hold to it, it must manifest. That's why Marcus Garvey was able, in those times, in the 1920s, to rally 4 million Africans worldwide and raise the amount of money that he raised to buy the Starliner ships them that he bought. He used the power of his mind. And when you look at that, you can realize that that is the teachings that was going around that the Rastafari community had in the beginning of the forming of Rastafari. That is through the power of your mind is how you will be free, how you will liberate yourself, and not depending on someone outside of yourself, but depending on your own intelligence to do the work. And this is what Marcus Garvey taught us. When we look at Leonard Howell, another figure that we must look at, who came and bought 500 acres of land in Jamaica, call it the Pinnacles, right? And have the Rastafari community come there and live and build a self-sufficient community there.
And look at it now. And just look at it now.
Yes, I really wonder if people just really look at these things, how the Rastafari movement actually started. That self-sufficient community got the government so afraid that they came and they destroyed it. But there was no more thought to rebuild it.
I know.
Everyone separate and gone into their own sections, and it's like the system win. You see it? So these are the things that I look at.
And even with the Marcus Garvey situation, how he had three newspapers in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, and French.
Yes. Now how we did that and he didn't.
In the high racist times that he was living in. I'm talking about high racist times, not these times, which is still racism. We're still dealing with racism, but it's not that high racist times. And he had 3 newspapers, publishings, and printing. He had the Black Star nurses. So if people get sick, they can go to their own to get healing. You know what I'm saying?
You see,
we can't even circulate one newspaper and keep it going. Not some here and there magazine. Not some here and there online magazine. I'm talking about how we can go pick up the New York Times right now. How we can go read the Miami Herald right now. Or the Jamaica Gleam right now. We don't have these things. And that's showing you that the self-sufficiency is not there. Because if it was, we would have these things. We would be operative.
We would have it. Yes. The Rastafari community would be much larger and much stronger. We would be as the Christian community. We would be as the Muslim community. We would be as the Jewish community. We would be as the Chinese community, as the Indian community. We would be just like that, But we are not taking into perspective these things. We're not working together. You see, all of these things here stem from that Willie Lynch syndrome, People might think that it's gone and we have outgrown it, but it's still there.
Well, I think people think because they're conscious or so-called conscious that they don't suffer from it anymore. And I see it in the conscious world even worse sometimes.
Right.
You would
yes.
expect them to think better
I
and
agree.
behave better, and they're not. They're still behaving
Exactly.
like Yurugu, but they're just with an African outfit on, or eating Italian, whatever the case is. But your mind is still thinking of a European thought.
Yes, and it's like they're drawing at straws in a river, trying to see if they can breathe underwater through the straw. Because the whole problem about it is this mindset that was given to us. Now, during the times of Marcus Garvey, when he came out, as I mentioned, with the metaphysical teachings and the teachings of the mind and how the mind operates.
Right.
And it all has to do with the laws of the universe. The 7 laws of the universe: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Now, these 7 laws is what...
But I think because that steps outside of the religious thought, people look at that as spookism. That would be spookism. That would be some type of voodoo, you know what I mean?
But that is the order of creation. The order of creation is run by what you would call destiny or fate. You see? And a lot of people don't understand what fate is because we was not taught the meaning of fate. You see?
Right.
And destiny, when you look up destiny in the dictionary, what it means, it explains that destiny is an inner power that is in everyone that is responsible for future events. So everyone have an inner power that is responsible for shaping their future events. And that is called destiny. You see it? Now, fate, what they call is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is nothing but controlled thought.
Right.
For you to have faith in something, you have to you have to control your thought in that way. Now we wasn't taught these things. But when you go into the metaphysics studies and these things, you will come to the realization of this. And this is what I came to, the realization of how creation actually works. That when you have a belief in your mind, a thought, whatever degree it may be, good or bad, indifferent, whatever it may be, and then you put thought to it, like constant thought and belief in this, that this is what it is, it shall become your reality, and you will experience it. Right. So what Vatican did was that same thing. They placed the thought in our mind that there is a superiority bridge in humanity, and that the white claim to be higher than the African. And once we place that thought in our mind and believe that thought, that the white man is superior, or think he's superior, or is running the world where he is superior than the black man, our reality will project the same thing as what we're believing. And this is what Marcus Garvey was showing us. Why he wrote in the speeches, he say, can we do it? Yes, we can. Why he say that we must be thinking of our own business. Because if we're thinking about the white man's business, then we are creating more of the white man's business in our reality. So in order to create what we desire, we have to be thinking of what we desire to create what we desire. You see it? So the way that we was taught through school and the institutions and all these things is the wrong way of thinking, the wrong way of approaching creation. And by being taught that way, which is the Willie Lynch syndrome, we can never move forward. That thing of outside, the outside forces is what controls. The outside forces is what is the causes, and then we are affected by it. It's not true. The only cause that exists is our thoughts. And whatever we think and perceive within our mind, we create in the reality to experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see we as the Rastafari community came out of that and started to look to Haile Selassie for help, for to save us, to redeem us, to bring us to Africa, that's where all our inspiration of self left us.
Yeah, that's when the stagnation started.
Yes, because we're waiting for someone out of ourselves to come move us, and we have the power to move ourselves. And another thing, look at His Majesty, right? And look at oneself in the mirror. Isn't we the same man?
True.
So then how can a man look outside of himself to praise His Majesty who have the same qualities as yourself?
You could do the same exact things that he did.
Same exact qualities as him.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And these are the things that we got to look at. Another thing too is with the Bible and how we was taught by the enemy to read the Bible. Most of I and I today is still going off of that way of thinking. And it's wrong. The Bible is a metaphysical book. It's not a religious book that is owned to the Christians or owned to anyone. Mm-hmm. It's a metaphysical book that is teaching you the power of your mind and how to use it, how to transcend states. If you don't desire the life that you're living, become like Jesus. Kill that life and rise a new life. And that is what the Bible is teaching. You see it?
Very metaphoric. Very
you
metaphoric.
See it? Yes, it's nothing to do outwardly. In that sense, it takes place within. You got to make that change within you. And when you make the change within you, outside will follow. But we was taught to approach the world on the outside. Yes, right? So when you approach the world on the outside, you're approaching all your effects, all the thoughts that you have created. You're facing them as causes when your thoughts are the causes. Your thoughts create the events that you experience. And if you experience an event that is not pleasing to you, it's not the person who played it out to you that is the fault. It's you. You had a thought like that, and you made it possible for it to be played out in your world. And this is the teachings of metaphysics, the teachings of the laws of the universe. It teaches us that we must become responsible for ourselves and our life. Yes, right? Mm-hmm. And there's no God outside of ourselves, no power outside of ourselves that we got to call to for help. We are that power. We must believe in the power that is within us to accomplish it. Yes, right? Yeah. And this is the teachings that the Rastaman came with in the beginning.
True.
Separate yourself from the system.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? You will make it. Life provides for itself. Yes. Mm-hmm. Life provides for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Once like you were born.
We was an extension of God. We forgot that we are an extension of God. So
yes, we forget.
We can say, we can call ourselves gods and goddesses, rightfully and naturally, and then live in that saying. You know what I mean?
You see it.
And then over the years, it just seems like it got watered down to where, no, you're not God anymore. There's another God that you have to look for.
You see it. And that God there, he live over in Ethiopia. So you don't have him at your hand. Mm-hmm. And then when he transcended, it left the Rastafari community dumbfounded till they start to create illusions now and say that a man can't drop flesh. His Majesty can't die. So, in other words, what they're saying is that their Savior disappear, leave the scene and leave them to the hands of the wicked. And it's knowing that they are going through tribulations and wouldn't come out of hiding to save them. This is basically what they're saying.
Exactly. And then also, Jesus died and rose again. So they try to compare Selassie with that story too.
Yes, because they're taking it on the outside. When it has nothing to do with the outside. You know what I'm saying? When you go to ancient Ethiopian teachings and you go to the ancient monks them, right? And you seek to know the meaning of Jesus Christ or what that represents, what Jesus Christ represents within the being of man. You understand that Jesus Christ is the light of man, the light that is within man. Yes, I?
That's
now, just that is the Christ consciousness, right? And that's who Jesus Christ is. The awakening, the arising of the Christ consciousness within you, the oneness of the Son and the Father becoming one, and then becoming the all. So all of these teachings was taken out of perspective by Vatican and was taught to us as something that is apart from self. And once it's apart from self, you can't attain it.
Right.
That's why Christ said, I and my Father are one. In other words, saying that the I, the awareness of being, and my Father is one being.
Exactly.
There is no other being other than the awareness of self.
Because once you raise that Christ consciousness, you are automatically one with the galactic source. You're one with the source. Once you raise
you're one with it.
But if you don't raise your consciousness, you can't never be one. You'll just be looking to it to help you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We must realize that regardless of if we raise with consciousness or not, we are one. That's why we are manifesting all the things that we are manifesting in our world. This is what we are here doing. We are creating all the things that we are experiencing, being it good or bad, whether we are conscious of it or unconscious of it. We are creating. And we must just come back to the remembrance of this, the remembrance of self, the remembrance of who we are, our power. And then we will change things.
Yeah. And we have to stop thinking individually. It's too much individualism. We don't think collective. We don't think communal. We don't think in the unity that Marcus Garvey was banging on. You know, we don't think in that unity where, like you say, you know, if Africa is our focal point, then we should have already 10, 20 years ago have made our mark in Africa and have our universities and have our guest houses and our restaurants and our local stores. We're like 30 years behind.
Hey, we way further than that. Yes, we way further than that
30,
behind.
Even though we know it's
I
30.
know.
You know, I'll just say 30 just for the sake of, you know, getting some elbow room to move around. 30 plus years, it's like, you know that we're stagnated. That right there shows you the stagnation.
Yes.
You can't think that we're moving forward at all.
And then you look.
If we don't even have the motherland in check.
We're not
unified on the motherland. We're not unified over here in the Americas or in the Caribbean or in Europe.
I'm telling you.
People we don't have that unified front. Everybody is individual or they small little cliques of groups, you know?
Talk and no action. The Willie Lynch syndrome is still alive. Yes, right? And until we realize what the Willie Lynch syndrome is, then we will be able to escape it. Yes, right? It's all about wrong thinking. It's all about facing the world on the outside when everything is happening on the inside. Everything is happening within you. the real world where everything is, how I should say, everything is really what matters is within.
Exactly.
Yes, right? Once you believe something, it must manifest. That is the laws of the universe. Yes, right? That's why, you see, it's a lot of things in the Bible that how we was taught have us kind of, off key
We're
also.
messed up.
Yeah, it's we are off key because we was taught the wrong way of approaching the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of
You
us, we
know?
come from a Christian background anyway, so we just left the
Hmm.
church and then
Yes.
moved over into our so-called consciousness.
Rastafari,
Yeah,
right. And just
but with
applied
an
all the
African flair.
teachings that we was taught there. You
Yes,
see it?
yes. And
When
that was the
we
big
must,
mistake.
yes, we have to, renew our thoughts, renew our mind. I'm saying we have to start fresh. We have to forget everything that we was taught, and it come with, you know, um, that earnest will to want to become. That's how I would say it. The earnest will to become is how you will get on that right path. Because I had that earnest will to become, and I wasn't one to follow others, and the I know I wife, I late wife, I'm saying the Honorable Goddess Akasiwa, she had that earnest will to become too, not just speaking it, but
Because she's the
also
reason why
doing it.
you're in Ghana now.
Yes, you know, and we came here with the vision to do that which we're saying. Don't just speak it alone. Don't just sit down and beat drum and talk about being to Africa one day and not actually living it.
Yeah, that's just
You know,
that's getting depressive right about now.
you see it,
You know what I
and
mean?
right, uh-huh.
It's really looking shameful to the outside world. They're laughing and giggling at us.
You see it,
They're
you
laughing
know.
hard. They're rolling on the ground now. Before they was just laughing and giggling. Now they're rolling on the ground. Rolling on the ground.
It's true, like somebody had tickle them.
Yes, they're laughing hard, big time.
Truly, Empress, truly. You
Because
know,
the organization is not there.
yes,
It's not there.
but someone have to step out, and that's why me and my Empress say we will step out to do it. You know what I'm saying? And what I realize in this trot here, I'm saying it's really not about the multitude. You know what I'm saying?
It's not.
Because
That
yeah,
multitude
we've
is
been
still
we've
sleeping.
been looking for the multitude to come along for so long, and the multitude is not going to come along. It's ones
They're
and
still
ones,
sleeping.
car. Yeah, when you look at it, repatriation is a personal thing. It's not a mass movement.
No. I
A
think
mass
we passed that.
movement,
We passed
yeah, a
that
mass
mass movement
movement.
point.
The mass movement is migration, which has to do with animals. But when you're dealing with people and repatriation, it's a personal thing. So it's a thing that happens within oneself when you really look at it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to make the move within self. You can't wait for the next man. You can't look for the masses to want to make the move, because the masses them sitting down and saying they're waiting for the government to give them leave, and each one of them have the ability to get themselves a passport, buy themselves a ticket, and make a move.
Yes.
But they choose not to. They choose to sit down and put the blame outside of themselves, which is easier. You see? Because if they put the blame upon themselves, then they have to get up and do the work, right?
True.
You see it? But if they put the blame outside, then they could sit down and just talk, and talk about the bond this and the bond that, and oh this and that and that. But they themselves is not making a move to make any change. So how then would change come?
Right.
You see it? So that's why I say the idolatry within Rastafari is having us stagnant. Because if ones and ones will really follow the teachings of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, they would realize that they are God within themselves and they are able to make the decision to make a move.
And they turn that into another
you see
religious,
it? They turn it into
story.
Another. Yes, the same thing back into the same teachings of Vatican. And they don't realize that they're following the way of Vatican by the interpretation of how they interpret the Bible.
Yeah, and they're putting Emmanuel in the Bible.
You see it? Now, you see Emmanuel?
He was more open than them. He was more minded than them. Because he was trying to make that move to Africa. He was trying to get things set up.
Yes, I meet some ancient Bobo over here in Africa that was crowned by King Emmanuel. You know, and I sit and I reason with them. And what they tell me is that King Emmanuel never tell anyone to praise him as God.
I know.
He said, man of right is God in flesh. You see? So, in other terms, he is telling every man that he is his own God.
They were gods too. Yes.
You see it? We all make our own choices. And by our choices, we create our reality. So, we are our own God. You see?
So you have to think, where did they get that from then? If Emmanuel never told them that, then where did they get that from? That's something they took on because
they took up upon themselves.
European thought and European behavior. They're still stuck on Yurugu.
Yes. You see?
Because if he never told you to do it, then why are you doing it?
Yes. It had this one story that one elder tell me here. He say, it had a time that, you know, some people them, I think it's either police or something came to the camp, right? And he is telling the police them that God up in the upper chamber, God up there, you know? It's God who up there, you know? So after the police and everybody leave, right? King Emmanuel call the brother, and turn to the brother and tell the brother why it is that you're telling the police them that God is up here. Why didn't you show him God within yourself? Why didn't you represent the God that you're supposed to be representing here on earth in yourself before the policeman? Instead of showing the policeman.
Yeah.
You see it? You see it? So all these things here, right, is where the Rastafari community kind of sidetrack, you know? And they're into this European ideology that was given to us by Vatican, you know, and it's being perpetuated even to today. It is the veil that is on the world, the wrong way of thinking, because we wasn't taught about the laws of the universe growing up. It's right, but most of the Europeans, them, the white people, them, they were taught it. So that's why you see when we was growing up, the white people always seemed to be happy-go-lucky and jolly and always happy and smiling, you know, and these things. And, you know, we used to have that look at, you know, white people, them, they always jolly and happy, and it's like they stupid and they you know, the silly and them type of things.
Yes.
Right. But that was the law of the universe. By being happy within yourself, you create happy situations around you. You create experiences where your life will become happy when you are happy inside.
They do it collectively too.
Right.
So it brings abundance.
If you tense now, if you stressed out, that energy that you having within, that vibration, is what is creating more of the stressful situations and experiences for you to experience.
That's right.
So when we look into these things now and we realize how the universe really works and understand the importance of not coming out of self, to worship anything, that we must worship the power that is within, that we are, in order to maneuver in creation, and things will be much easier for us. It's
So
like,
how do
and
you
just
shift
as
that?
you
How do you
shift that,
shift
well,
that? Yeah. How do you shift that? Because people are stuck in their way. You know what I
yeah,
mean? They're
it's,
comfortable.
it's
It feels good. In their mind's eye, it's right.
yeah,
And now
but
I
then
have to
the still,
change that. I have to shift that.
yeah,
And I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. That
you know how they're
a
gonna
lot of
shift
people
it?
is not gonna be willing to do that. Be a
Yes,
part
they're
of that
gonna
great
shift it.
shift.
They
Hmm.
will shift it when they're tired of it. When they finally become tired of going through the same separation and the same foolishness over and over and over again, they're gonna shift it then. You
They're gonna
know?
get tired of being tired.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, in this time, every man have to worry about himself. Save himself, because no man can save another man. When you save yourself, you save the world that you're living in. Because you are creating the world that you're living in. So you have to save yourself in order to save your world and make your world better. You can't save another man and his world. His thoughts got to save his world. That's why they say you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You could show the man the right way of thinking, but it's up to him to apply it in order to actually receive the benefits of the right way of thinking. You know, a lot of people is hearing it. A lot of people you see right now in this age of, awakening, that they say awakening, and they're speaking about manifestation, and everybody want to manifest money. They want to manifest better house, better car, better job.
Yeah.
All these things here is leading them away from the true purpose of manifestation. And the true purpose of manifestation is being able to transcend one's being from one state to another. And it's only through that transformation that the outer changes can happen, where you will have more money, you will have the better job, you will have, better a better experience in creation. It all has to do with the changing of states within the being of man. And they're straying the people away into thinking only on the outside. It's a very deep concept, and it's a very deep work, in order to transcend yourself and move from one state to another state. And the Bible is the perfect book that teaches you how to do it. That's why His Majesty said the Bible is the rallying point of all humanity. And if a man is not guided by the Bible, he is like a ship without a rudder. And a ship without a rudder has nothing to guide it. And when the waves and the wind come, it is tossed and thrown anywhere soever the wind push it. And if there be a rock there and it smashes into the rock, it is destroyed. Right? Now, this is the saying that His Majesty gave that coincide with the Bible, where it speaks about it in Psalms 1, where blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. What is the counsel of the ungodly? The counsel of the ungodly is the person that does not order their thoughts. So if you're not ordering your thoughts in the way in which you want it to be, then you become like a ship without a rudder. And you are facing creation as the cause of your experience. When your thoughts are the cause of your experience, and you are shaping what you experience, what you encounter by your very belief. So it's the rearranging of a mind that Babylon did. you know. But because before colonialism and all these things, the African man had the right way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? And we was not in any sort of war with each other. Tribes lived side by side with each other in harmony because we had the understanding that every man is his own world and has a right, yes, and has a right to his own reality and experience as he sees fit. Yes, right? Now, when you understand how this works, if you are thinking righteous thoughts only, and you don't have any unrighteous thoughts or wicked thoughts in your mind, you can in no way experience wicked experiences in your life. But if you have the belief and the thought that wickedness exists in your world, and you are susceptible and can be affected by wickedness, you will surely experience that in your world. So this is the whole reality of creation. Why Marcus Garvey said, the mind creates whatever is made to be believed by it.
And we stop using our mind to manifest it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because the eye of the mind is who we are. The first eye, the most eye. That is who we are, the eye of the mind. And from that eye, we create all things in our reality. For that is the light that is in man, which is Christ. Which is the Word of God, the living Word of God. For that light is your thought. And every word that you speak cometh from a thought, cometh from that light.
But to tell people that they have the Christ consciousness and that is everything we just said, that's going to be hard for a person to shift into. It's going to be hard. Because no, that's not how we go. And over the years, it's been preached on something totally different.
Yes, totally different, right? You know? So that's where we must shift now. That's where we have to change our perspective. Some books them that will be useful for I and I as a collective to read, to give it to our children and all to read, is the Corpus Hermetica and the Emerald Tablets and the Papyrus Egyptian Book of the Dead. Because those books them was alienated from us when we was growing up. And we was taught that those books were some sort devilish because they're speaking about aliens and all kind of other things. So it's devilish and you shouldn't go and read those stuff and you should just stick to the Bible.
Right.
But if people realize...
It talks about aliens too.
Yes.
And it talks about the pineal gland, you know?
Yes, it's 21 books that has been taken out of the Bible.
Even in the King James talks about pineal.
Yes. So if people would realize that it's 21 books that was taken out of the original Bible, which is still intact in the Ethiopian Bible, then there is a lot of other things there to read and learn about.
Missing. Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Definitely missing out.
And once we put the pieces together, then we will be able to see the full picture.
And even reading about Enoch shows you that we need to be on a higher metaphysical level than what we are. We need to be on a higher consciousness of thinking. Than what we're actually doing. What we think we're doing at its high, it really isn't.
You see it. You know what I'm saying? It's really scraping the floor. So to say, you know? We as a people are the supreme beings of creation. And we must realize that. And only until we realize that, we can get access to our supreme power.
Exactly.
You see it? Our power is...
We can't do that with the Yurugu in our bloodline.
You see it?
We can't do that if we're thinking from a European thought and having European behaviors.
Natural.
We have to critique ourselves and really scan ourselves, start shedding those old thinkings and those old ways.
Yes.
You know, in Kemet, they would call it integral shedding, where you're shedding the old away. Like how a serpent sheds its skin every 7 years. We need to be that way with ourselves.
Yes.
We can't just keep sticking in the same old skin.
Yeah, that is, you see, all those things like in Kemet and those stuff, those are symbolisms for us to follow. The snake.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And the shedding.
Yeah. And they say we have to do that too.
Yes, we have to change.
It's not
if we want to become better. You see it?
It's not worshiping an animal, worshiping a snake. Is watching nature and seeing how nature operates and live and applying it to us and to our daily
principles.
Life. So if you can see a snake shedding its skin every 7 years, that should be telling you something. And you
it's all about
super smart to know that. Just seeing that should tell you something.
Yes.
That snake is letting go old skin. So that new skin is forming. It's a new being. You're born again.
Yes, transformation. Yes. Yes.
That's being born again.
Yes.
Not from your mother's womb, but shedding those old ways.
Yes. Yes. But in the mind, being born again in the mind.
Exactly.
You know, becoming a new person, a new being. Not thinking of that old way you used to think of that used to have you in bondage, have you always stressing, worried, complaining. Yes. No, you want a better way in life. You want to be free. So you have to start think free. You have to start be free. You have to see yourself free. See yourself with no limitations in order to live a life with no limitations. Exactly. But not for I and I is not seeing that. They're looking before them and seeing all the limitations that the world has put before them in illusion. And they're taking it as fact and as reality. And is being affected by that illusionary fact that they created for themselves.
Exactly.
Life is truly beautiful, Honorable Empress. It is easy, you know.
That's why I say, you know, I don't need to be dealing with no joy killers because I don't need nothing to kill my joy.
Yeah, you know? It's true, because when you look even at that saying there, we don't deal with joy killers. We don't deal with negative people. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nothing on the outside is affecting us, is the cause of anything.
And even when they come around, you just gotta know how to repel it.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Shield, you know?
You see, the people them that come around that is expressing negativity, expressing joy stealing, are the ones them that we created in our world. They are our creations. The people them that you meet and greet and experience and have your experience with in life. It's the reflection of your thoughts, your beliefs, your concepts. And they are there to play it out with you, for you.
As long as you let it.
When you understand that, you realize that the person who is showing negativity in your world is because you created them and have them there.
Right, that's why you can't be bothered with them.
You see it? Right. So if you created them and have them there, how could you be bothered with them? Mm-hmm. Just realize that, okay, it's a thought that I'm having that is causing this person to be here. Let me change my thoughts and that person will disappear. You see it? And it's as easy as that. And that is how creation works. Change your thoughts. Remove the bad concepts. Remove the wrong concepts. Kick Satan and the kingdom of wickedness out of your heaven. Because once, whatever is in your heaven, in your mind, you create it in your reality. That's why they say God kicks Satan and his followers out of his kingdom, out of heaven.
Yeah, he was his right-hand man at first. He was his right-hand man at first before he dropped him.
Yeah, you see?
That was his best friend. And then he saw that best friend wasn't a best friend anymore. So
it's our concepts, you know. It's how Vatican gave we the concepts of things, you know. You know? Take, for instance, evil. Right? They gave us the concept of evil as something that is bad. Right? that affects you and can hurt you and can bring you danger, can take your life and all these type of things, right? But when you read in the scripture about evil, it tells you that God created good and evil for his judgment. And that evil,
you have to deal with
and that,
polarity.
right, and then
one
evil,
the other.
right, and then evil is set to pursue the wicked man to overthrow him in his way. So if evil is set to pursue people them that is doing wickedness, that is causing harm and destruction to creation, to get rid of them, then what actually is evil? Evil is not actually a bad thing, if you look at it in that figure, or in that sense.
Like everything
evil becomes justice. You see? So when they say God create good and evil, yes, he create good and then he create justice. That if anyone tries to harm good or do good any harm, the justice which is evil is going to stop them. You see? Now, when Vatican come and gave us their teachings now, they teach us that we was born into a world of good and evil, meaning good and bad, and that we are affected by good and bad, which is a lie. You see? We are born into a world where we create what we want to experience, be it good or bad. You see the difference?
Yeah, because we have to control that reality. Seriously. Selassie, what's happening?
Relax yourself.
We got Ashanti Selassie just came on the panel.
Bless her love, bless her love.
Ashanti Selassie.
Bless her love, honorable. You know? Yeah, man. So, yeah, man, these things we got to really. Yes, I bless it. Yeah, man. So these things is where we really got to, get into perspective. Our concept, our outlook on creation and how we are looking at creation. Don't shake that. Because the outlook that we was given from birth is from Vatican. And we wasn't given that the right concept from Vatican, which is our enemy. Yes, right? Now, Vatican created a world where they want to have rule over human beings, rule over man. And the only way they could rule over man is if they remove the concept of the true man from man, which is man is God. And by removing that concept and separating man and God, they was able to have rule over man. You see? Because man now is giving them the power to rule over them. And that's what's going on there.
Yeah, and I think that's just what has been, that's spilled all over into the Rastafari movement.
Yes. Most naturally.
We don't want to call ourselves gods and goddesses anymore. We want to call somebody else God.
You see it? You see it? And then now we integrate.
Between, like, praising and giving reverence.
You see it?
Giving respect and giving reverence is fine. Give reverence to your ancestors. Give reverence to those who came before us and paved the way for us. But when you start praising it, and
see it
before your Christ consciousness,
right?
Then that Willie Lynch syndrome is still activated.
Yes.
We haven't deactivated Willie Lynch syndrome.
Yes.
Because we always have time to change it. It's just being aware that you are, suffering from that Willie Lynch syndrome. They think only a certain group of people suffer from it, but that's not true.
True. You know what I'm saying? And you see, being in the system too, being in America, in that whole space makes it difficult too for ones and ones to escape, because they are caught up, many of I and I is caught up, and in order to escape, you got to separate from the system. That's why the scriptures speak a lot about the prophets and saints, them leaving from where they was and going elsewhere, in a sense of repatriating from where they were to their father's land, of making a move, coming out. You see, when you come out of the system now and you look from the outside, you can see the tricks of the system. You can see how the system is built. You know what I'm saying?
But there's a lot of people that's on the continent that's suffering from Willie Lynch too.
Yes.
So it's still about the mind. It's not really your geographic location. It's
the
mindset. Because
it's
I
the
see
mindset.
Caribbeans suffering from it. I see people on the continent suffering from it. People in the Americas suffering from it. It's the individual. I feel it has to take place within the individual, not where you live in. Because you see people will leave America and go to Africa and they bring them same ways.
That's right.
Leave the Caribbean, go to Africa, they bring them same ways.
Same ways, yep.
You see what I'm saying? And it's sad to leave the diaspora and come to the motherland with that Willie Lynch syndrome. That's super sad.
It's true. It's true. Because a lot of them come here and they're expecting to live the same type of life that they was living up there. And a lot of them don't come here because they can't live that life that they're living up there. they're that luxury, that being able to have credit, to get things. Here in Africa ain't no credit. To own it, you got to buy it. So these are things that, people in the diaspora must look at too. The African man that owns something is because he buy it. He's not leasing it. He don't have it on credit and the bank own it. And if he don't make payments, then the bank take it. That's not how it works down here. So a lot of people them is viewing their current situation and what they've heard about Africa and trying to make a kind of comparison as to if it's worth making the move. But I would say to every eye, it is worth making the move because it is an upgrade.
I think that's because, you probably see it all over YouTube. People have left the diaspora and then they find themselves back in the Caribbean, back in Europe, back in America because of their bad experiences.
Yes. Yes.
I guess they came with different intentions than whoever received them had.
Yes.
We're only good friends until the money is, and then when the money is gone, we're not good friends.
They're gone. It's true.
And it'd be hard to find the right people that have your best interests, that really have your best interests, that really see you as their brother and sister, not just he's a Caribbean, he's from here or she's from there. They really see you as an African. It's so hard. True. I know they're there though. I know it's there. I know it's there because not everybody have a bad experience, but 85% of the time, what I'm seeing is nothing but bad news.
And I would say
it's not really the bad news from the ones coming from the diaspora. The bad news is coming from the side of the receiver, the ones on the continent. They have the bad mind. They have the Yurugu mindset. They coming with the Willie Lynch syndrome.
Yes.
And we kind of be blind to it because we want them to receive us. We want them to be on a safe wavelength. And then when we find out it's not that way, that's when we say, you know what, I could just deal with the bull crap in America. Well, I'll go back to the Caribbean and deal with the bull crap there.
A lot of people do that.
Crap in Europe. Because if I have to come to the motherland and be used, abused, and stolen from, and things like that, then, what's the use? Because there were two elder sisters that came from Chicago, and they moved to Ghana. I think they were in the Kumasi area, if I'm not mistaken. They bought their land. They did a lot for the community that they were in. Somehow jealousy creeped in from the same ones that was around them. 1 week, her dog is dead. Then the next week she's found dead. Then her sister's found
Wow.
dead. Two elders
Whoa.
now lived in Chicago, worked all their life, retired, took their
Hmm.
savings, and went to Ghana. So you know their intentions was good if they did that flip. Because they could have just stayed in Chicago and enjoyed their retirement and their big house and everything. But they sold their properties,
Wow.
took their pension with them, took whatever money they saved over the years, and said, we're going to go do a great deed in Ghana. 1 minute it's their land, the next minute it's not their land. They take it to court, the judge ruled in their favor, and it seemed like the people was upset because the judge said, yes, this is their land, they paid for it, it's in paperwork.
Right.
They kill the dog, then the next week they find the two sisters unalive.
Wow.
And this is what people are
Sorry
scared
to hear about that.
Like they want to come home, but they're scared of those type of stories.
Yeah, well, I would say
there for some years. They were there for some years before this stuff happened. It's like they wait till they're there for about 5 or 7 years and then want to say, "Oh, this is not your land. Whoever sold it to you shouldn't have sold it to you."
Yeah.
Look how they did the Hebrew Israelites. Just came with the bulldozer, John Sparks, and knocked down their rest of money.
Yes.
Out of nowhere.
You see, one thing I learned when I came here that is very important for ones when they come here is to join a family. You see, that is very important.
But how do you know that family you joining?
You join, you see, once you live here for a while, you start to find out the families, them that are upscale and the different. And then not even that, you will draw to you good people, you know, just as you will draw to you bad people. So the good people, them that you draw to you, you join their family. You know what I'm saying? Now, the family that I joined, and I'm saying it because a lot of ones, them that repatriated here, joined families. And they directed me to do the same. And when I did it, I saw the benefit, because when you join a family now, then the elder of the family, especially if the family is a known family or a family of integrity.
Have respect, yes.
Right.
Family.
Anything you have problem with anyone, you just go to the elder of the family, and when the elder talk, they listen.
Yes.
You see it? And that is how you got to go through your business here in Africa. You got to go through it traditionally, not like how the Western Europeans them do it. You know what I'm saying? You have to go through it traditionally. If you go in and buy land, you go and you sit down with all the elders. And all the elders then will come who have portion on that land, and they will sit before you and you will negotiate with them. Mm-hmm. If you come here to Ghana and buy land and there is no elders, then you're facing problems. And then now if you're not joined to a family, then you have no one, no local to speak on your behalf. You're in problems. You see? Right? But as long as you have a local, you join a family. That family know the people them. They know their ways. They hear their talk in the town. So they could alert you of anything. Mm-hmm. So it's a great importance for ones and ones to join a family. Get an elder man and take care of him. An elder woman, take care of them. Provide for them. You know what I'm saying? And they will stand for you. Because the African people is loving people, you know.
But you know, some people don't have that connection to be able to link up with a family.
I would say everybody do is their intent when they come here. Mm-hmm. Is their intent when they come. What are they coming as? You say that you're coming as a repatriate. What is a repatriate? A repatriate is the descendant of Africans or Ghanaians that was from the continent. So if you're coming as their descendants, you're coming as family. So then you have to show yourself as family by joining a family. And when you do that, you show the people in the community that you are one with them. And they start to treat you as family. But if you come here like, one African woman tell me, and you go and you set up your house and you border it off. They're gonna watch you and say, "Oh, you want to be by himself? Let him be by himself, and nobody will pay you no mind." You see it? So the African people, them, they have intelligence, they have morals, they have sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They're not
They know
stupid.
when some right. They know when someone come down here and loves them and want to be part of them. You know what I'm saying? And they know when someone come down here and just want to benefit off of them. When the white man come down here, what the white man do? What the Chinese man do? What the Indian man do? They come and they build infrastructures. They put up businesses. They do things to help the people so that the people them can use. You see it? And this is how they get in. We from the diaspora, the black people, the black Africans from the diaspora coming home. What are we doing? Are we setting up businesses and infrastructures too? We ain't doing that. Everybody coming and want to go one away and live like how they live in America.
Because of the individualism, no.
Right. And that is not going to help them here. Africans live as a community of people. Their culture and their heritage, everything is in one. It's intact. They know the ways of God. They understand the scripture. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the outlook that we have in the West about Africa is just given to us by the Europeans them. We have to come here and live here and see for ourselves before we can talk. You know what I'm saying? We can't take what they tell us and what is floating around over there, because it doesn't speak of the in-depth truth, the culture, the richness of the people. You know what I'm saying? How to greet each other, how to deal with thieves. You know what I'm saying? They have very high moral standards here in Ghana. You know what I'm saying?
You just have to find those ones. That's what it is.
You see it. And as we say, you know, the mind creates. If you come here with the concept that there is evil people around and they will rob you and they will take from you and they will do, then you're surely creating and manifesting those people to come and appear before you. You know what I'm saying? So I learned from it. My wife learned from it. You know, because when we came here first, you know, we put aside all those concepts and saying that, yeah, man, we meet good people and everything went good for a while. But when things start to shift and we start to put in our thought that these people here to chop we and all these things, it start to actually happen. You know what I'm saying? So I could say that we created our reality.
Well,
you see it?
Maybe to a certain degree, yes. But I think that's just how those people were. That's just how they are. They were like that before you came to Ghana. They just put up a mask. They put up a front.
Yes.
And that's why you started seeing later on down the line that they wasn't who they
said they were. Right.
Because they were
you see it. You see it.
So pretend for so long. You can't pretend forever. Your true colors
you see it.
Manifest. Whether they say it's gonna turn bad or not. It was gonna gonna show you who they are.
But the thing is, at the moment when we wasn't looking and dwelling on that, giving thought, giving life to it, right? When we was not dwelling on, you know, them, you know, what they could be doing, and just seeing things as, oh, we just got here to Ghana and everything nice and everything was nice. You see it? As I show the eye Empress, it's thought, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't deny it. You know what I'm saying? We start to say these people, you know, they're trying to prolong us and chop our money because certain things he was asking them to do. You see it? Yeah, they were in the sense,
I tell
yes.
You what they did to those two elder sisters in Chicago.
Yes. You know,
you
and
can't treat people
you know,
like that. That's building up your community.
You know,
that's honestly building up your community. You can't treat them like that. You're already that evil person. Those sisters didn't see that coming because they came with good intentions.
Most of the repatriates here that I talked to said the same thing. They all went through it. You know what I'm saying? They say once you come here with your wealth from America and you come here, most of the time you lose it all and have to rebuild yourself here. You know what I'm saying? And most of the repatriates them here that I established told me that they went through that and they had to rebuild themselves here. And most of the people them who don't stay is who went through it and decide that they ain't gonna stay and try and rebuild themselves, so they go back to America.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We was one who went through it and say, you know what, we ain't going back to America. We're gonna stay here and start to build. You know, and it's just unfortunate that my wife passed. You know, but I still have that same mentality that I am not coming back to the West, but I'm going to build here, you know, and that is a reality that must come to fruition.
Yeah, that's a smart.
You know,
you're already there. You might as well just stay there and start.
Yeah, what's coming back to the West is going to do for me right now. You know what I'm saying? You know, so right now, Empress is just concentrating on renewing the mind is what all of I and I need to think about. Stop the outer worship of others, of idols, you know, because, you know, people thinking that a picture and a statue is two different things, but it's the same thing. It's the image of a being.
Right.
You see it? So once you bowing down to the image of a being, you are totally disrespecting your own being as a being, yes, as you're existing, because you're looking out to something that is made by your hand.
You just
they would say
Christ consciousness.
They would say yes, they would say that Haile Selassie I live, yes, but then now they have a picture of him to remember him by, and that picture they bowing before. That picture can't come alive.
They're not giving reverence to the picture. They're giving praises. And
they're bowing down and giving their power to the picture.
Yes, yeah.
You see it? When they are the power, they are the one who can make the change within their life. They are the one who can say, you know what? I don't like the West here, you know. I don't like how the system run. I don't like how, you know. And for me, I rather be somewhere else and work my way up than having to go through here. And it's not until you get to that mindset is where you will look forward to make that move. Until then, you will just procrastinate and be complacent to the system and what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
When Rasta started, Rasta didn't want to send the youths them to the school because the Rasta man had the concept that the teachings that they're teaching in schools is the wrong way of thinking. They're taking the children them out of their mind, out of themselves. You see it? And the homeschooling is better. You see it? So all these things of how Rasta started to where Rasta is now, where Rasta have most of the youths them there go Babylon school and learn, you know, Babylon way of thinking, to go and work for Babylon system, all because Rasta is not set up. Rasta don't have their own factories. They don't have their own communities. You know what I'm saying? So when the youths them of the Rastas them grow up, where do they have to go for employment? They got to go back to the same system because no foundation is being set. You see it? You know, so these are the things that we really got to look at. You know why I really stress that, you know, man, we need to come back into ourselves, man. You know, take back responsibility for our world, our reality, and know that we are responsible for what is happening. We are the one that is shaping our very experience here in this reality called life.
Exactly.
You see? We are the one with the power. That's why his Marcus Garvey speak like that, you know. and say that we sitting down and allowing the white man to just run away with everything because the white man say he's superior. We just believe in him.
We are. And he said that back in his time.
Yes, now people fail to realize. Yes, people fail to realize that back in those times there were wealthy Africans living in America that was not facing any sort of racism or discrimination because they had the right way of thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of people left the Americas and went to Liberia, and set up shops over there. You know what I mean? That wasn't even a question in their mind what they need to do once they leave. They know once they went to Liberia that they had to build.
Yes, you see, people fail to realize and get the full image of what slavery actually was, Slavery was for those who believed in slavery. Because there were those who did not believe in the slavery and did not experience it. Yes, right? And it might seem hard for them to actually come to the realization of this, but it is true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you study metaphysics and you go back, I don't know if you heard about this writer, Mr. Neville Goddard, a white writer, a white man who wrote like a couple books and stuff back in the mid 1900s. And he wrote on metaphysics and those stuff, and he had a teacher, and his teacher was named Abd Allah, and he was an Ethiopian monk, guru type sage who lived in New York in the early to mid 1900s. And he was somewhat of a mystic in the sense that he had power over his mind to control his reality. And he taught it to Neville Goddard, he taught it to Walter Lanyon, and many other scholars that was around in those times. Now, his teachings is that the figure Jesus Christ in the Bible is nothing more than the human imagination, the imagination of man. And that through the imagination of man, he experienced all the things that he experienced in the world. And he lived in New York during the time of slavery and never experienced slavery. But he experienced more of the white people coming to him for help, to get them out of situation, get them out of problems, answer their questions and all these things, and revered him as a mystic man, as a wise man. So when we see these things, and this was a dark man to be living in those times in the 20s, 30s, and being revered by the same white people who they say have slaves and treating slaves in such a manner. Looked up to this man. And there were many others like him. So we have to really get the real overview on what slavery really was and what was going on during those times. You see? Because
there was in Savannah, Georgia, there was a ship full of Igbos who said that they refused to be in slavery, and it said that they transformed into beetles and butterflies and flew back to Nigeria.
You see? Now, all of these mystical things, people might seem it far-fetched, but being here in Africa, it's not far-fetched at all.
There's so many stories.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, the mystics of creation.
In America,
hey, I'm telling you,
it's just skirting the surface for what I just told you about transforming into beetles and butterflies. There's a lot of more metaphysical stories. Harriet Tubman got a lot of. If you read her,
yes,
her
look
stories,
at those things. Yes, It's true.
She slid
You know
right
what I'm
under the
saying?
grid. She slid right under the grid of the slave
I'm
master.
telling you.
She's
And
sleeping
did
in
it
the bushes
over
one time.
and over and over.
Exactly.
To show that what she had in her mind manifested apart from whatever the world was saying and whatever they thought.
Exactly.
She stayed to what she believed, that she was here to do this and she will never get caught, and she never got caught.
Exactly.
She believed in herself, and that
And
is the power of the mind.
She even had white people on her side believing in that and helped her.
I am telling you, because when you see you remove wickedness from your mind, even your enemy will become your friend.
Exactly.
Because there is no more wickedness to present itself to you in your creation. So the wickedness that once presented itself to you must become good now and present itself as good. And this is what the scriptures them is speaking about. Now, these are not just layer thoughts, These are deep thinking thoughts.
No, it's real. I experienced that on Thursday. Me and my daughter was on a Zoom court meeting. And I said, well, if the judge asks me if I need anything to say, or if there's room for me to say something, I'm going to mention certain things. And
right.
I didn't even have to say it because the people that came on before me, the lady solidified everything, any exact thing that I was going to say.
Wow.
She said it. Another family
Look at that.
came on and said it. And I said, I don't even have to say anything because she already let the judge know what she's not pleased with. And everything she says she's not pleased with, I'm not pleased with. So I don't need to say it again because he's going to deal with her situation and fix whatever she was complaining about, and it's going to help everybody else that's been complaining about.
Exactly.
So I don't need to go back there and repeat exactly what she said. She already solidified it, and I kept saying, I can't wait till court date come. I can't wait till April 24th come because I'm going to say this. April 24th, I might have to say nothing. Somebody else said it for
me. Said it for you. You see it? And that's how the universe works. You prepare your way before that way comes to ensure that that way comes. You see? You prepare your way. And that is the way of the godly. The man who sits and prepares his way, prepares his steps, say that, okay, I am going out there, I'm going to do this, I'm going to encounter these type of people, I'm going to experience this, and really believe in it. Sit down and have deep thought towards it. Then when you step and you move, just as you go in for whatever, you're going for a job, because you're in America and you want to change, you want to go for a job, control your thought in the manner and you will get it.
And how you want that job to happen.
Exactly. Yes. And exactly the pay you want and everything, and you will receive it. As long as you truly, deeply believe in yourself. Because that's all we have to do. Believe in our own power that is within us, that has us living, surviving, waking us up in the morning, putting us to bed at night, have us breathing, have us seeing, hearing, thinking. Believe in that power. Because that power, which in we are, is our creator. And has all power. Has absolute power through our word, which is light and sound.
We have to just say it and we'll receive it.
Yes.
It's just that easy.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it speaks so much about belief. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't over they take the concept of what Babylon gives them about belief.
Yeah, I know.
But when you look to the root meaning of belief, belief is to desire, to love, to care. So when you believe on something, you're desiring it, you're loving it, and you're caring for it. And if you understand how creation works, whatever you believe, whatever you desire, whatever you love, whatever you care is what you create.
What you create. What you ask for, that's why they say be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what's been happening.
You know what I'm saying?
It's getting what we're asking for.
And what Christ is showing us is that, you see, like how we say, we are not saved by works, lest any man boast, but by grace through faith. You see, a lot of people think that they have to go out there and battle with the work, battle with this, to save this money, to do this, to reach to the next level. It's like what Christ taught was that entering into a state of grace, meaning you enter a state of deep knowing, confident knowing that you have received what you desire already. And then control that belief by faith, which is taught, a controlled, continual thought pattern in that way. You will have anything in this world. And that's what Christ was teaching. Metaphysics. Controlling thought, which is faith.
Yes.
And when you control thought in whatever you believe in, you shall receive it. It's like now, you tell some people this, they don't want to hear it. Because all their life, they have been living, battling and going through creation. Battling with creation as creation is the cause. And they're getting affected by it. They're being bombarded by everything.
Choose to do. Well, then that's just going to be what they choose to do.
You see it.
You know?
And
I think they have that free will to be that way. It's all about your free will. That's what they
free will.
You gotta let them do
free
it.
will.
But you can't be upset with someone else that's telling you that it can be done differently and that it has been done differently and good results come out of it. You can't argue with them. You can't say it's not true because it may not be true in your reality because you don't want to manifest that. But it is true. That's why I was saying, you know, how do one start to shake that old Yurugu behavior and thought? How do they start critiquing themselves in a different way? Because if not, it's just going to have another generation of the same stagnation.
Same thing, right. We have to start to look to ourselves as the problem, as the cause. Yeah? We have to look at ourselves as the cause. Once we start to look at ourselves as the cause, as the problem, then we will start to work on ourselves to bring change. Go and take 5 seconds.
Do you have anything you want to say on that subject?
Hi, sir.
Blessed.
Can you hear me? Yes, sir.
I'm a brethren, Ashanti. I want Ashanti. Yeah, man, I'm much love and blessings, my lord. Yeah, man, always the High King and the royal family.
Everything good, my brother. Yes, everything good. Just maintaining right now, my bro. Just sitting here, man. Just sitting here about to burn this little split right now. You know, man. Just hold on a second.
True.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting about to burn this little split right now, whatever, man. Just listening to the reasoning. You know, I don't have too much to say on the topic right now, whatever, man. I'm trying to just, take the vibe in, and I definitely did agree to be on the podcast vibe. Just honestly and truly, I got a lot of vibes going on in my so-called personal life right now. So I'm trying to just get that straight in my head right now.
True. Well, we give thanks for the I moment, the I presence here with I and I. Man, say, man, and this is one of the things, the reason why, this year podcast is being broadcast, so that we can shift and we can be that help for each other in this creation, because a lot of I and I is going through things, you know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to be each another's brothers and sisters keeper. You know what I'm saying? Now, most of what I and I is going through is directly based off of I and I thought pattern. You know what I'm saying? And once we could realize that, then we can make a shift and things will be much easier for I and I in our reality.
Yeah.
So man, that was one of the things with the ideology and the stagnation of Rastafari. You know, and I guess the Empress see the video and decide that she don't want to hold a reasoning with I to really speak about it. Because I and I is a very peculiar people. Even to today, I and I is still fighting for the freedom of Africa. How many other major groups out there, Christian, Muslim, whichever, do you see them fighting for the freedom and the redemption of the African people? To free them from colonialism and all these things. You don't see no other movement out there doing it, my lord. You know what I'm saying? The Black American movement, they're fighting to free themselves in America and say they want claims to America. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't knock them for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But what happened to Africa?
But they try to exclude Africa and just only want to focus on trying to claim America. And that's where the hiccup comes. Because we can live in both continents. We're not living.
Yes. Yes.
My whole. They say I'm this, that right there is like just disregarding everything that the ancestors went through that came over here on the slave ships.
Take 5 seats.
Yeah, but I think, bro, like, I just think that, those concepts, man, like, really when it just comes to the whole thing of Africanness and what that means, I think that that's so much of
you can take
so much of a topic that people, can say is like, relative, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, because, to me, like, I can't speak for anybody else, whatever, personal, whatever, but, for me, I know that, that in my family, that there's, DNA that was already here. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people that say that, I don't necessarily know how true that is. I don't know, you know what I'm saying, whatever, because I don't know the person or whatever, but I do know that overall there was Black people that was already here prior to, this transatlantic vibe, whatever. But,
thing, right?
But thing about it is that, like, at this time, I think it's important for us to realize that, in this time, like, I guess that does matter, but what really does matter more so than even that is that one's got to understand that in 2025, you got to understand that, like, this African experience, this African structure, or whatever, this, Black structure, whatever you want to call it, whatever, like, in this time, like, yeah, like, maybe not everybody, but yeah, there is evidence that shows that we was here prior to that. We get it, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But it also, evidence to show that we come from, so-called Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like, the evidence to show that, whatever. But in this time, the ones that understand that if we're not able to, like, not necessarily look past that, but if we're not able to have those difference of opinions, difference of ideology, difference of, even subcultures within this culture, if one can understand that we need to, work together, that's a vibe. But also one can realize this too, that you know what I'm saying, or whatever. There's evidence that shows that we're from here, and evidence to show that we're from Africa. We get it, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But with that being as it is, what are we gonna do with all the information? Like, what are we gonna do with that? You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Like, it's cool to have information. It's cool to be scholarly. It's cool. But, like, so what the nation of God's and earth call it, when you're able to take knowledge and actually manifest it into something that's, like, I guess will be tangible, they call it making knowledge born. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So in this time, as a Black people, like, how we making this knowledge that we didn't, like, knowledge of anything, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, knowledge of this religion, knowledge of these ways of life, like, how are we using what we learned in Rastafari to create infrastructure? How are we learning, like, how are we using what ones have learned in Christianity to, like, benefit the people? What about Islam? What about all these things, whatever? So my thing is, like, it's cool to have all knowledge, it's cool, but if it's not being utilized in a way,
yes,
like, then it ain't nothing. And and that's where stagnation comes in, and that's where the triad is, where it is right now, whatever. Like, when you even look at with like with what the Majesty, put forth. It's like everybody that was in the Ethiopian
Yes,
government
you're
didn't
going
have
with
the
that.
same opinions on life. You know what I'm saying? They had different opinions on life. You know what I mean? Whatever. But it was important for the cause of Ethiopia for them to come together for common causes to reach a certain common goal. So that's what we need to come to as a people to really figure out how to do that. And
Huh?
I don't think that a lot of us even know how
Use the
valuable it
pencil.
is to even have unity among ourselves.
I think
Mm-hmm.
also the big issue is too is like it's not only are they saying, okay, yeah, I have roots here in the Americas and the Caribbean, but they're trying to say that the Americas is older than Africa. So it's starting
Yeah,
to
that'll
get
make sense.
diabolical. They're starting to get
Yeah.
facetious with it. And they're
Yes,
starting to
yes,
get petty about it, like really petty about
yes.
it. Since my great, 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 great grandparents, my 10th great grandparents was born, Africa is known as the motherland. You even hear
Mm-hmm.
other nations calling Africa the motherland.
The
You'll talk to
motherland,
some
yes.
Yeah.
indigenous Indians and they'll say Africa's the motherland. You'll talk to some indigenous people from wherever you want to put them. We know that Africa's the motherland. But when you start saying that America is older than Africa,
Yeah, they're getting
pyramids
ridiculous now.
and the pyramids in
You know?
America is older than the pyramids in Africa, now you're starting to sound biased.
Yeah, you see it. Yes,
Now
because
you're starting to
it's
sound
just
like you want to X out Africa and just big up America so you can have an excuse to
yes,
stay in America.
exactly. When they don't really need to have an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone is free to be where they desire to be. The point that I am trying to make with the community of African people worldwide is that Africa is a continent where we can utilize it for our economic gain. You
Right.
see?
Without
It
the
is a place where, yeah,
Yurugu
right
Effect.
now, look in America. Look at the foods them that is coming into America. Most of the
Hmm.
foods them that is selling in America, they cannot sell it in Europe, they cannot sell it in China, they cannot sell it in Russia, they cannot sell it in other parts of the world, but they're selling it in America. And the American people is feeding off of these things. There is sickness going on, diabetes, high blood pressure, all these things. Now we're here to say they come in with the vegan, they come in with holistic eating holistic diet and all these things, and the people them are still getting sick. Now, what is causing all of this? The mind state. You see it? So when people really get into that and understand that the system of America is set against the mind state of the people then, to keep them in a slavish mentality. And the only way they can free themselves from that is to acquire their own food, acquire their own wealth, and build them own self. If the American government continues to provide food and health care and all these things for the American people, then it's destruction. Because this is what they've been doing for years. They have created a system of sickness where they can have rule over the people because they are weak in their mind. Just by the foods and the things them that they create around them. So, we really got to get deep with this thing. This system that Vatican created is not no surface system. It's something that goes deep to the core of the human being. You see, like in the Bible, it speaks about Abraham, right? And Abraham meeting Melchizedek on the way. And Melchizedek blessing Abraham, and Abraham giving Melchizedek a tenth of the spoil. But they don't tell you that when Abraham met Melchizedek, he met the king of Sodom also. Now the king of Sodom was there when Melchizedek met Abraham. And when Melchizedek blessed Abraham, the king of Sodom didn't want to bless Abraham. The king of Sodom wanted Abraham to give him his persons or his identity, his person, of which Abraham refused and said that he only served one God, which is the same God of Melchizedek that blessed him. And when we understand this concept, we realize that Melchizedek is the eye of the mind. And that the king of Sodom is the world that we're living in, that was created by these so-called enemies around us, the whole system. And Vatican as the king of Sodom. And the people them of the West, the East, everywhere is living under their concept, which is the veil that is upon mankind, the way that they taught us to think. You see it? So regardless of all the fighting what we fight for, unless we remove that thinking, we ain't going to go nowhere. And that is what has been going on. The thinking is not removed, no matter how we try to escape the system. It's like we can't, because the thinking is the system. And that must be removed. You know, so them is little vibes that I need to really see Africa as an economic base where we can come and grow our own foods, to ship it over to the Americas, ship it to the Caribbean. Well, the Caribbean could grow their own food as well. You know what I'm saying? So that the people them could have, you know, a better source of intake, you know, and working with the African continent, with the African countries, that will bring even money and resources to the African countries too. And that's why I just mentioned look into Africa. Not necessarily that a man must pick up and leave America and come to Africa, because he might come to Africa and not be nothing good for Africa. It's better if you are just stay in America. But for the eyes them who is coming to Africa have to come with development. You know what I'm saying? To bring change, to help out communities, because that's what Africa needs. Not just someone to just come and reside here and sit down. You know?
You see what the president in Burkina Faso is doing?
Yes, which is great.
That's the type of energy that the president of Ghana and other presidents
yes.
of the continent need to start doing. Because then
it's happening.
More comfortable coming home.
Yes, it's happening. Little by little.
Faso, that will be the place for me to be. That's where your heart will tell you to go first. Because you see that the government is in place.
Yes.
The government is doing something for its citizens. It's keeping the finances, it's keeping the wealth, it's keeping the resources in the country. You're not looking to France no more.
Truly. And you see how quickly they're rising?
When he did that, exactly.
You see? So all it is for the other countries them to gain the balls to make that move too.
He just
and kick out the colonialists. He said he's tired with it.
Right.
Change must come, and it must come now. Mm-hmm. You know? And that is the change that we need for the whole continent to change. And it's happening because other countries are joining with him. Right. It might be slow, but it's coming. You know what I'm saying? And in a small time, it's going to be a big shift on the earth. And my thing is, you want to be where you're at the advantage. And I think that place is Africa. You know, but that's just me. You know, someone else might say different. You know what I'm saying? But I think Africa is the foundation where you want to be on when that shift is made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody, they're thinking that the dollar is going to last. You know? But if the dollar loses power tomorrow, what will be the situation of the people? And this is what the people then must realize. Stop hoarding up the dollars and start to put it to use. Because tomorrow, the value of the dollar might not be guaranteed.
And you see someone in the chat just said Burkina Faso is the example we should follow.
Yes, definitely is. You know what I'm saying? And another example that we should follow is the example of the white people them in South Africa. Who created their own self-sufficient community, their own banks, their own schools, their own everything that happens in there. When you go into their town, you have to use their money to buy. And when you leave the town, you can't spend their money anywhere else.
They unify, that's why.
You see, so we must take example where example is set. That is a perfect example of Leonard Howell.
Because I think that, it's definitely good to be able to, be so, we call it a solution and resolution based. Definitely good to be on the vibe, and I do my best to always do that. One thing that I realize about us as a people is that the reason why a lot of things are not taken as serious by the masses of people, but taken serious by a small minority, is because there are certain things that hasn't been revealed to these people as far as their back being against the wall to let them know that we need to unify. You know what I'm saying? So the thing, even prior to me knowing about what the state of America was years ago, and even being able to see certain things that are going on now, then even with all that being as it is, one thing that I saw is that again, the Majesty wasn't just talking to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church when he made speeches about the need for Ethiopia to unite. You know what I mean? Whatever, he was talking to everybody that was there. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, to utilize the strength of everybody that's there. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, whatever personal thing you got going on, whatever, as long as it's not against the state, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, then that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, so that's how I look at the vibe. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's I've been in groups where it's just strictly Rastafari, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, nothing else but that. And I've seen, some of those groups not necessarily make it. And I've seen other groups as Rastafari that deal with the greater community of Black people, of African ones, and they still functioning. You know what I'm saying? Whereas though I've been in groups, like the Black Power group, you know what I'm saying? Where it's just, a Black Power, kill the cracker. And I'm with all that. I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But the thing about it is that, what is that based in? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Bang on the beast.
You still got to do some action.
Yeah, but straight up, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. But like the president mentioned about, Pinnacle. It's okay, so that wasn't just community of ones that were just sitting around, just burning herb, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, just chanting. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. That was a set of ones that, had business, businesses, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, had trades, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, knew about, you know what I'm saying, farming, knew about, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, food stores, food preservation, all those things, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, to sustain a community that was not pretty much, but that was sovereign, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Right.
Because they knew the need for that, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and it was and Rastafari was under threat, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, physical threat, you know what I'm saying, not just you know what I'm saying, we see you can get your slap of the motherfucker wrist, no, you know what I'm saying, whatever, literally under threat of getting locked the hell up for a time, you know what I'm saying, or really them time dead. You know what I'm saying? You dead. A lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no jail time, you dead. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So, I don't want to get like I don't want to see how people have to wait until the proverbial backs are against the wall for everybody for once to know it's time to mobilize. I just know that I can just say this. You know what I'm saying? Without even getting personal into the ball, whatever. I can just say this. I know for a fact that there are sets of black people right now that have land that don't know what in the hell they're doing with it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. That have people that are around them or that are in a network that know how to assist them in getting their land together, but they're not trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I know sets of people right now that have land here in America that they can be doing great things with, you know what I'm saying, whatever. And I, you know what I'm saying, keep it real, some of the people I know, whatever, I've linked with or been connected to a few of them who I'm thinking about right now, you know what I'm saying, whatever. And I see just the level of taken for granted, I guess you can say, and the level of not reading or writing on the wall. So if we're in a situation where like we know that food needs to be grown, and you got somebody that is willing to work with you, you know what I'm saying, that can help you grow food on your land that can benefit everybody involved plus the wider community, but you're not willing to do that, then that's kind of crazy. But the thing about it is that why I mention a personal situation is because I know that's not just me that deals with these kind of things, but that's why, because the people who I'm talking about, their back ain't been against the wall, you know what I'm saying, whatever. And it's like a lot of people back are big against the wall prior to the big back being against the wall, whatever, is that when you're in a situation where you're not dealing with scrounging for money day to day, some of the things that you have to deal with when it comes to survival, you're not really thinking about it because the money that you have acquired, that's a safety net, and you think that the money that you got, that's gonna be enough. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And we've been duped into thinking that, just working a job for these people, which I'm not dissing that, but we've been duped into thinking that just working a job and dealing with building a system up is overcoming. When at a time, our people, whether it's Jamaica, whether it's America, whether like we knew that on a level, at least number one survival thing, you gotta have food. Sure. We knew that. So this whole food security, food sovereignty, and food justice, that wasn't something that was topics then, because that's what we did. You know what I'm saying? Whatever food justice, like you didn't hear that word years ago. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It's like, so you had food. Like you heard food and you heard justice, you know what I'm saying, whatever, but like in the conjunction, food justice, food sovereignty, you didn't hear shit about that, because like those wasn't concepts that you had to think about, because it was just natural, you know what I'm saying, whatever, to have your food at your house, that's natural, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Now people not thinking about that, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So and the one thing, I think that not necessarily should be done, instead of, but maybe along with. But the thing about it is that, so there's so many black people in America, and there's so many black people in Africa, and there's a link between the two, as we know, because we are exercising a link between Africa and America right now. So, with that being as it is, there's what do you call it? Micro and subclimates at every so-called latitude, right? And there's a lot of things that can be done as far as this whole seed thing in Africa, this whole seed thing in America, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Like, there could be certain agricultural tests done for certain varieties, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, that come from Africa that are grown in a microclimate here, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and vice versa. And then, along with shipping the food from place to place, we can also start and get more familiar with seed varieties from places that we are. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Like whether it's like native seed varieties to America or native seed varieties to Ghana. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Now I'm mentioning things that like I can assist in getting these things, moving. But what did that take? It takes just getting up, link with the brethren, link other ones, you know what I'm saying, and find the tendencies I've always been sent.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Whatever doing it, you know.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just think that like there are a lot of ways to break up the stagnation, and I think that we also have to realize too that there's a lot of ways to do things, just like I just mentioned. For some people, going to Africa might not necessarily be what they need or want to do. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. At a certain point in my life, I was like, like straight to Ethiopia, no, like Ethiopia or die. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. That's how I was as a younger Rockstar one. I was like, I'm going to Ethiopia, and that's it. I ain't going nowhere else. And anytime I heard anything about moving anywhere else, I was like, such an Ethiopian patriot. I was like, I ain't going nowhere but Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Because I know more about Africa right now, whatever. That's not my thoughts at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And because I know about, kind of the climate from looking at it from the West, kind of like the climate of Africa, whatever. There are certain places that like I might have wanted to move years ago that I might not even think about moving now if I did so. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. But one thing that I think we got to realize too, and is that everybody gonna do certain things. Everybody gonna accomplish the goals they need to be accomplished, but they don't accomplish them differently. But we have to utilize the links. We gotta use the links. It's like like whether it don't matter what it is. It's like we gotta utilize the links, and it's like we got enough people that's from the West that's in Africa right now. X amount of people. You know what I'm saying? X amount of people that I know, other ones know. So since we got the links in the West and the East at the same time, whatever, like we have opportunity to take advantage of these links. We got opportunity to break up stagnation. We got opportunity to really take Rastafari or anything else that we dealing with, you know what I'm saying, whatever, to a real height. If we really just, like kill this right-minded disease. You know what I'm saying? Kill this, kill just kill the folly pretty much. Whatever. And I know that's gonna take reconditioning. And to me, it's hard to understand why it's easy to deal with folly behavior. It's hard for me to understand that. But I've seen that seems easy. It seems easier for people to deal with folly than to move right. I still haven't understood that the concept of taking time to do follow when you can do right. I don't really get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a waste of time. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. But at any rate, I'm looking to see some things change, and I'm looking to see the water start flowing and stop with the stagnation business. So
surely. Give thanks, my lord.
But are there any families in Ghana, for ones like, just say for instance how Ashanti have the farming skills and he got the whole farming agriculture thing on lock. You know what I'm saying? And he's a musician on top of that. His kids, his children, they even play instruments, violins and guitars and drums and things like that. Is there a place for him in Ghana? Like he can bring those skills, that agricultural skills, that starting farms, starting local farms.
Yes, most naturally because
that he can link up with, that you may be aware of, that will take him in. You have to worry about the shamming and the scamming and the usury and those negative things that people be experiencing,
Most natural. And that was one of the things that me and my wife wanted to do when we came here, to create a base like that where ones can come home and don't have to go through the scamming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That they can come and they will have somewhere that they can rest and they ain't got to worry about, you know, overspending on a place to stay. You know what I'm saying?
I tell you, Brethren,
Then,
that is the main reasons why ones are not trying to make the effort to come home. That's
you
one
see
of
it?
There's other reasons too, but that's the number one reason. They're scared
Yeah.
to get shammed.
You know, well, what I would say is stopping our people. What is stopping our people from this is the same Willie Lynn syndrome. We're not willing to come together and put our money to good use.
Oh, yeah,
You know, everyone is individually hoarding their money, thinking that that dollar is going to last. That's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And then in the reality of things in America, most people in America is working till they die. You know what I'm saying? Because when they go into pension and these things, the social and the pension is not taking care of all their bills. Some of them have to go back to work.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? And all these things we must take into perspective, you know, because we might be young now and seeing that as somewhere far from us, but small time, the years them goes by. You know what I'm saying? And especially if you're in a job or work in a place where there is no pension for you to get, there is no social for you to get, how would you survive? Especially if you're in America. How would you plant your food and live? You know what I'm saying? So all these things one need to take into perspective. You know, I live in America, I work in America and see people work till they die. You know what I'm saying? Work till they die. Is that what life is about? Is that what creation is about? Is that what this whole thing is about? Work till you die? Nah, man, there must be some difference to creation. You know what I'm saying? There must be some reward, some betterment to life. You know what I'm saying? Not what this world has created. These people and these world leaders. You know what I'm saying? And we can make that change. It's up to us. They're going to start one by one, but it's going to come together. You know, but we have to be willing. That's the only way. Willing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they say, you know. They say magic. What is magic? Magic is deliberate thought activated by the will. Will thought, which creates or produces a physical result. You see it? So once you can have a deliberate thought with the power of your will to think in that way only, then you will have the power to create a manifestation in physical form. But it takes deep practice to control the mind to that extent. You know, so the possibilities are there for us. Is for us to step into place. Because everything exists in creation. And the possibilities of our better lives, of we as a Rastafari community living a better life, exist in creation. It's just we the people have to step into the person of that. Become that. Don't just talk it. You know? Don't just sing about it. But become it. Become that help to the next person. To say, well, you know what? I tired of here, you know. You tired of here, you tired. Okay, let each of us pool $5 together. You know what I'm saying? If it's 20 of you all, $5, that's what? That's 100. And start to put down to get land in Africa. Where a little community, couple houses could build. Where the eyes them could come over. And by the time couple years pass, all of you all come down on the plane and could step into each of your own house just by teamwork. But many of I and I is not doing it. Many of I and I don't even know how easy it is to build down here in Ghana or in Africa on the whole. You know what I'm saying? The eyes them sit down and thinking it on You're not saying on the whole big scale, but little by little is going to do it. One step at a time. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it takes. It takes.
Yes, I was saying, a lot of the things that there's so many things that we got as far as the tools to accomplish the goals right in front of our face. Really, a lot of these tools and the goals are right there. I mean, the goals are there and the tools are there. The consequence for not getting some of these goals are met are right there as well too. And the thing about it is that, like, a lot of times people, we get in our own way. We definitely got to stop doing that as people, and we got to, again, stop being scared to work together. You know what I mean? Whatever's gonna take, we got to stop doing that, man, because it's so much that we need to do and accomplish. And like, this is not a situation where we can just drag this shit out. You know what I'm saying? It's not a drag out situation. It ain't when we can just, just say, oh, whatever. I'll just, like eventually we'll get it done. No, man, it's like it ain't like that. It ain't like that. Whatever. Yeah.
That's why I was asking. Definitely good to have. That's why I was asking Josh Fox if he knows any of these families. So when if people do even think about trying to leave America or the Caribbean or wherever they are, you know what I'm saying, they can feel comfortable knowing that they're going to be all right,
Yeah.
I think the call dropped.
Who's off? Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, I think his connection probably dropped.
Yeah. Wait, I might have to get off saying way too soon because I'm like, I gotta go down here to play drums. At this my time is crazy. I'm like, I'm gonna have to talk to you. I'm like, I ain't even supposed to. This is ridiculous.
What happened?
Nah, I'm gonna talk to y'all for this John here. I might talk to y'all for there. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Because it's just. No, I'm saying, but like, yeah, but it's. I just know that right now, like we talked about for years, whatever. Like people's back not against the wall, so they don't even. So this continued stagnation that we see or whatever, like
Yeah, it gotta break. The chains gotta be broken because it's just a repetitive cycle. It keeps going and going. There's nothing moving. You know what I'm saying? It's just standing still. And they think it looks pretty standing still. It doesn't look pretty standing still. It's like we the big laughers. We're laughing at us, big time. Big time for us.
Yeah.
Big time Ashanti laughing.
Yeah, it's just a lot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
there is a lot of potential if we stick together, if we come together. You know what I mean? There's a lot of.
Yeah, it's a whole lot right now. It's just like, I mean, like I said, like, we can do a whole lot of people, man. We gotta just realize we gotta realize how to do what we can do. And that's the thing that, like, like I said, it's like, the term food justice, food sovereignty, and food security. Food security, food sovereignty, and food justice. It's like you didn't hear those words, I use in conjunction like that until I started hearing about that shit until maybe 15 years ago now. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But like those wasn't concepts, you know what I'm saying, that people use. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, because it's like, it's like that's what people do. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It's like, it's like the whole thing with this whole what they call CSA, the whole CSA vibe. And so that was something that was started by a brother. Started the whole CSA vibe. That was just black people having food and distributed amongst the community. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. That's what it's doing. So, like these whole, like, so the very thing, like Brandon mentioned too, it's like the whole thing about like the food we eat. You know what I mean? Like the food that is being consumed is aiding in a lot of dysfunction in people. You know what I mean? Whatever. And I was talking to a brother a while ago, and I mentioned to him, I was like, you know, but they make people think that growing food is like growing food successfully. Well, not only a bad thing, but they may like the way they deter people without even telling them it's a bad thing. Is they make them think that it's so hard to grow food that's good. Like, you know, like I said, it's so hard to grow food successfully that people don't even try to do it. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, like, I ain't got a green thumb. I can't do it because so. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know, so people already get defeated with it because they think that it's so hard to do. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know, like growing food, depending on what scale you're doing or whatever, like it definitely, you know, like it ain't a dummy sport. I can tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Growing food ain't for dummies. I can say that.
Yeah, exactly.
I can say that. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
But I think sometimes people knock it before they even try it.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. So like, so it's like, but they ain't gotta tell them it's bad because they already let them know that, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, that they can't do it because of the challenges, you know, like, and the main thing people say is that, but I don't got a green thumb. And, you know, I mean, you know, again, like, you know, I've grown food on small and large scale, so I know what it is, you know what I mean, whatever, and this is, you know, and what I mean, you know, like, you know, about not being for dummies is that, like, you know, like it I can say for organic, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, like if you're not willing to tap into the plant and like, you know, you're not willing to tap into the plant and like, you know, like you're not really doing it for a purpose, then it's gonna be hard to like really get what you're looking for that plant. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. That's why they come with the synthetic business, you know what I'm saying, whatever, because that take all that, the whole synthetic Miracle-Gro business, that take out the need to connect with the plants. That take out the need to be able to you know, be one with that soil. Take all the need of that, you know, out. You know what I mean? Take that, like, totally make the obsolete. You ain't got to even deal with that. You know what I'm saying? It's like knowledge about plant science, take that shit and throw it out the window. That's what that's all that Miracle-Gro shit do. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's for you to just, you know, be a doer, you know what I mean, whatever, and just, you know, just you know, feed in the dirt and just, you know, look for a baby plant tomorrow and look for a full grown plant. You know, look for a baby plant today and look for a full grown plant, a tomato with tomatoes on it tomorrow, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's what they do, but yeah. Ready to cut up again?
Yeah, I was going to ask him, do he know any, you know, any families that will be good to link with?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Probably going to try and chime back in.
Yeah, I did hear that, yeah. Yeah, it's good to know, got to know something.
Because if we want to network, we definitely want to network with people that's either already there, or that is already there. You know what I mean? And have good connection. Because it's all about the connection. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like no one has time based on, you know, being hooked up with the wrong people.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, so if you can kind of like cut out the BS, that will much, you know, make people more comfortable with projecting something like that. And you know, not everybody is going to want to pack up and just move to Africa, but maybe they may just want to travel back and forward, do business, create an economy, do some importing and exporting. You know what I'm saying? Have your feet on the ground in the diaspora, have your feet on the ground in Africa. You know what I mean? Because both could work.
Yeah, it depends what you want to do. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, for me, you know, it's like, at this point, I don't even know, like, what my dealings, but what my movements would be. I don't even know for a fact, whatever, but definitely want to, get a chance to do some agro vibes in Africa at some point. They want to do that. So I don't know. Like as far as really, honestly, it's like shit, I don't even know as far as I don't even know if I'll ever set up a permanent residence damn near anywhere. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm in America now. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But I want to have like spaces here. You know what I'm saying? Some space in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Spaces all over. All over the world, whatever. But definitely some key places, whatever.
Right.
But definitely, use agriculture as one of the main focal points, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Exactly, the focal point.
Yeah, I was trying to give him a few more minutes to come back on. If not, then there's always a next time.
You said what?
No, I said I was trying to give him a few more minutes to try to come back on. If not, there's always the next time.
Yeah.
Let me see if he made a message on Facebook.
But I need to get ready to go so I can. I'm gonna play drums today. Go play drums in a little bit, a few hours.
Were you in Charlotte right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Charlotte. Yeah.
You and your son gonna play drums?
No, like I'm just going today. I'm going solo today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'll definitely keep you posted next time I'm live streaming.
Okay, that's cool.
I'll see, I'll see if I can probably get y'all spots to come on once a month or something like that,
That's cool.
Just to keep the link and things like that.
That's cool, I'm with it.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
All right. I never heard that music in the background before today.
Yeah, it's from an elder from Chicago named Judada.
Yeah.
He does intergalactic reggae.
Oh, okay. I heard that boy.
Feeling that beat in the background. Yeah, he got a playlist.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
He got a playlist of music. You'll probably like it. And I put his link in the description there on the YouTube.
Okay, good sounds.
Yeah.
He's on Reverb Nation.
What is this, Ashanti Zone?
No, this is on Elder Chicago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He gave me the permission to play his podcast.
Oh, okay. It sound nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's groovy,
Playing the band. I think he's from out of Detroit. But he lives in Chicago now. Yeah, I was telling Ashanti before you got disconnected. That, we gotta keep the link with you because you're supposed to have everybody links to what's a good family, make sure.
Yes. Natural. And then I have links to other repatriates down here, who have land, who is willing to work and develop land for agriculture, for farming. They have land close by the river, and also the water accesses accessible. So, it's just for I and I to just get together and for us to see where we can go from here. Because as I say, there is ones on ones here, even myself. I have 10 acres, and I have brethren who have 100 acres. So the land is here. It's just for the unity.
Is there a way you can organize like off the screen meeting? Like how we're on StreamYard now, like we recorded it, we have a private StreamYard.
Yeah, man, most natural.
I don't know if they want it to be live like that. It's up to them.
Okay, well, yeah, definitely I can link up with the brethren them and have them come over and we do, we can do a link up and reason up and see where we can go from there, because for me the time is now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Always meeting,
Yes, you know what I'm saying?
No matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, food, food, clothing, and shelter. Those three necessities. You can't go wrong once you get into any one of them. Yeah, man. So, well, I give thanks, cause time come down, it get dark now, and I gotta go deal with the youths them now,
Right.
Yeah, man, and I give thanks for the reasoning, Honorable Empress, Ashanti, I give thanks for the moment with the eyes them, and as we move forward to bring change and not just to speak about it.
Oh yeah.
But to bring change. Yes, I. So we will link Honorable Empress. Give thanks again, for the moment and the opportunity, to share my thoughts, on the Rastafari movement and one of the reasons from my point of view why we are stuck and we're not moving forward,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Much blessings. So until such time, all praises to the Most High. Aye.
That's up.
That's it.